Can I move on, Elliotte, to another team that people, really, really make a cottage industry of disliking in a lot of ways, and that's the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not locked in yet, but it's very, very close that they'll be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm going to lay out to you what I think is going to happen, and you tell me what you think. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to lose. And I don't think it's going to be a close series. I think it's going to be 5 or 6 games at the most. And I think that the Tampa Bay Lightning won that series last week when they did then they had their 8-1 beat down on Toronto. Mm-hmm. And of all years, this is the year where it's really not their fault. You know what I mean? Kyle Dubas has put together an amazing team. He's put together the best regular season team they've ever had. His Kasha acquisition, the Bunting acquisition, the Giordano acquisition, all great acquisitions. And this is the one year where I think someone might pay if this happens, but I'm not sure that should even be the case.
Well, as we tape this, guys, or we do this, it's they're 4th in the league.
Yeah,
you're right, Ken. Now, I will say, I will say this: I am getting wide spectrums of conversation on this Tampa-Toronto series. I have people who say this is the Leafs' year. Tampa's exhausted, and they're going to beat them. And I have people like you, you have to understand, Ken, you're from Sudbury, right?
Correct.
Yeah, were you and your friends Leaf fans growing up?
Not at all. I was the biggest Montreal Canadiens fan you will ever find.
So so Dylan, where are you from?
Toronto.
Are you and your buddies Leaf fans?
My buddies are, but I am the biggest Montreal Canadiens fan.
Oh God, what's going on in this podcast? So I grew up in Toronto, and my buddies, I still have buddies who were huge Leaf fans.
Yeah,
and they think the Leafs are really good, but they are terrified about this series. And you know why they're terrified about this series?
Because all Leafs fans are nihilists.
Yes, that's true. But hey, they come by it honestly.
They've been given a lot of ammunition.
You know what they're worried about? They're worried about. They say to me, they're really funny. They said to me, Stamkos is going to come to Toronto and he's going to kill them because he's a Toronto guy. And, it is funny. I do think that if it is Tampa, Toronto, as it's going to be, that the Lightning players are going to say, we love our captain and we're going to win the series for him.
Interesting.
I really do. I think that's going to. Now, look, here's the biggest challenge for Toronto. It's Tampa's battle tested. They're going to be motivated, and they have the best player in the league in the playoffs. That's what it is. Vasilevsky is the best player in the NHL in the playoffs until proven otherwise. I'm with you. I think Dubas has generally made really good moves this year. The one that didn't work, Richie, they erased.
Yeah. Yep.
They've added depth on their blue line, depth of the kind they needed. I don't know what to tell you. I like Toronto too. I just think this is the worst possible matchup for them.
Yeah. To me, it's almost like this is the year where you go, oh shit. Everybody had 100 points in the East. It's a crapshoot, and you know what? These things happen. But I guess my question to you, Elliotte, is can you do that after this year? Like last year was the year where maybe somebody should have paid. This is the year where somebody might actually pay, and it's not going to be fair.
Well, you know what I think, Ken? I think it comes down to, let's say Toronto loses the first round. It's how they lose.
Right.
If they go out in 4 straight and weekly, then goodbye. But if they lose in 6 or 7 really hard fought, nasty games,
OT games,
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. Kenny Holland told me, between the cups in 2002 and 2008, I guess, He said they sat down every day and they talked about their team and they kept hearing about how they needed to change it and how they needed to move some of these guys out, and they never did. And they were rewarded for it because they knew they were a good team. They know what the playoffs is all about, right? Like it's so crazy once you get in the playoffs. So many things have to go your way. And I remember even talking to John Cooper before the year they set all the records and lost 4 straight to Columbus. We were talking right before the playoffs, and he said, well, look, he said, if you could bet on the Stanley Cup and you could take us or the field, you'd probably take the field, right? Because it's so unpredictable. So I just think, like I said, I just think this is one of those years where if they do lose, it's not, you chalk it up to that was a tough opponent in a tough conference. And we believe in what we're doing here and we're going to stick with it.
I think it all depends on how it goes. And the other thing too, Ken, I think that will determine the future of players too, who plays well and who doesn't. Like, I don't think we're just talking about, the front office or the coaching staff. I think we're also talking about, who's on the roster. But, like I watched them, and I know they got pounded in that game against Tampa, but they kicked the crap out of Tampa a couple of weeks ago, 6-2.
They did. Yeah.
So I try not to overreact to one game or the other. But, look, I think we all recognize there's a lot on the line here. A lot on the line.
Yeah. Should be fun.